Hello and welcome back to the video on the Football Zone and to another weekend preview. And yeah, it's the first full weekend preview of the season, both Premier League and Championship action this weekend. So let's get straight into it with the first weekend of the Premier League football of the season. And Palace v Arsenal, an interesting one. Both teams, I'd say they've had a fairly solid pre-season. Arsenal making some good new signings, Palace as well. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see which way this goes. I just think Arsenal will have that little bit more quality though, and that will allow them to get the opening day win. I'm going to say 2-0. Moving on then to Fulham versus Liverpool. And Jay, you'd expect these two teams to be competing at opposite ends of the table this season. Liverpool probably going for the title again, Fulham battling to stay up. But yeah, both teams have made some very interesting signings, I'd say. Andres Pereira, Leno, not bad signings for Fulham at all. Liverpool, no, like Darwin Núñez could be a shrewd signing as well. So yeah, it's interesting to see which way this goes. But yeah, like I say, I didn't expect Liverpool win here. I think it will be quite comfortable as well. 3-0. Moving on then to Bournemouth versus Aston Villa. And yeah, Bournemouth, I mean, like I'd say they'd have a pretty horrendous side, to be honest. Was really expecting them to invest quite a lot in the squad, but in fact it's been quite the opposite. They've been very quiet, had a bit of a shambolic pre-season, I think it has to be said as well. Aston Villa a bit better, so yeah, I think they'll be coming into this one confident. Villa with the new recruits, so getting the W here. And yeah, coming away from the vitality with all 3 points, and I think they will do that. I think it'll be tighter than maybe people think, but I still think Villa will come away with a 1-0 dub. Moving on then to Leeds versus Wolves at Ellen Road. And yeah, Leeds, they'll come into this one, I don't know how they'll feel really, because they've lost Rafinha. Will Brentford be able to hit his form back from last season? They've lost Phillips, of course. So yeah, it's a tough one to see. But Wolves obviously had that horrendous end towards last season. They'll be looking to, refine their form from the first half of the season. So it'll be intriguing to see which way this goes. I don't think there's a lot to separate the two sides at the moment, so I'm going to say 1-1. Moving on then to Newcastle as they taking on Nottingham Forest. And it seems to be two teams with quite a lot of the money at the moment. Newcastle bidding 60 million for James Maddison. Nottingham Forest pulled off the incredible coup of Jesse Lingard. It's shaping up to be a really interesting one. I should imagine it'll be a fantastic atmosphere from the Forest fans. Their first game back in the Premier League in a while. It's interesting to see which way this will go. But with home advantage, I just kind of feel like Newcastle are a slight favourite. So I'm going to say 1-0 to Newcastle. Moving on then to Tottenham as they take on Southampton at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. And yeah, I'm really excited about Tottenham this season. Conte as manager, he's had a full transfer window, to kind of get his squad together. We know with Conte it doesn't take him long. As for Southampton, they've got quite an inexperienced squad, you do have to say at the moment. So it'll be intriguing to see how they work out. Maybe they'll start slowly, be a bit inconsistent, but who knows. But yeah, just looking between the two sides, I would say Tottenham have enough quality to brush aside Southampton here, so I'm going to say 3-1. The evening game on Saturday is Everton against Chelsea. And yeah, another interesting game because Everton, they had a pretty, I say, mid pre-season to be honest. Chelsea, not too bad, kind of getting their flow a bit towards the end of it. But yeah, I would say both teams maybe wanted slightly better preparations. Chelsea haven't got as much business done as they like. Calvert-Lewin out injured for Everton, so yeah, maybe not ideal preparation of the squad, but even still, you still have, say, that Chelsea have too much here. Moving on into the Sunday games and starting off with Leicester versus Brentford at the King Power Stadium. Leicester, despite having no income, it's actually had a pretty solid pre-season, won the last 4 games. Brentford indeed as well, won their last 3. Both teams will come into this one off a fair bit of confidence. Obviously, both of them have had some blows in the summer transfer market. I think both can still have pretty solid seasons with the squads they have, and maybe some new additions over August. I think Leicester will have just a tiny bit too much for Brentford. I'm going to say 1-0. Moving on then to Manchester United as they take on Brighton at Old Trafford. And yeah, Manchester United, they've had a 3 players. Are they really the players that would make Manchester United fans excited? For me, no, not really, and they still do have quite a lot of catching up to be with the other 5 of the top 6 at the moment. But against Brighton side who've had relatively decent pre-season, I would say, it'll be intriguing to see how this one goes. I fancy United here though. I think they will have enough, especially with Ten Hag's first game, 2-0. Probably the biggest game of the weekend in the Premier League is West Ham taking on Man City. And yeah, this is an interesting one because West Ham haven't had the best pre-season really. not great at all really when you look at their results. Against the Man City team, who obviously lost the Community Shield last week, but with Haaland and that, look like they're going to be pretty imperious this season. But will West Ham be able to spring a surprise? I don't know, I just feel like Man City will be so strong, all demonstrate how good they are at the upper. I don't think it'll be battering, I'll say 2-1. But anyway then, moving on then to the Championship games, and starting off with the Friday night football, Birmingham against Huddersfield. And I think Birmingham will be relatively content with their start of the season. May have been outplayed by Luton last week, but still got a point, a very tough place to go in the Championship at the moment. So I think I'll be happy with that. Huddersfield, on the other hand, they were relatively outclassed by Burnley at home, so they'll be looking to rebound from that. And it's a game with not a lot between the two sides at the moment, I'd say. Not too much quality I'm expecting here. I'm going to say drab 0-0. Moving on then to Norwich against Wigan at Carrow Road. And Norwich, a really, really poor start to the season with them. 1-0 loss to Cardiff. They'll be disappointed with that, hoping to rebound. Wigan 0-0 draw against Preston. Not too bad a start to life back in the Championship, I don't suppose. But they'll be wanting to follow up here. It will be a tough game. One team was playing in the Premier League, one team was playing in League One last season. It will be a tough game for Wigan, and Norwich is a game that they'll definitely be fancying for the game of W. 2-0 to Norwich. Moving on then to Bristol City against Sunderland. And this is another interesting game. Bristol City obviously suffering late heartache last time out against Hull. Sunderland may be frustrated not to hold on to that 1-0 lead they had on their return to the Championship. Maybe both teams coming away slightly disappointed from their first game. I think both teams will see this as an opportunity to get some points on the board. I'll be intriguing to see which way it goes. I'm kind of feeling like a draw here. I'm going to say 1-1. Moving on then to Burnley as they take on Luton. And Burnley for me, probably my starting the first weekend. The way they adapted to a totally new style and Vincent Kompany without any issues at all, it seemed, was really impressive. Luton played pretty well in that draw against Birmingham, I would say. But in the end, just couldn't get the chance in a goal, which of course you need to do really if you want to win football matches. So they'll be focusing on that this week, I should imagine. Burnley, based on what I saw in the first week, could have a bit too much quality for Luton here, and I'm going to say 2-0 to Burnley. Moving on then to Preston as they take on Hull at Deepdale. And Preston, a 0-0 draw, away at the DW last weekend. Not too bad a result. Maybe they would have hoping for a win against a newly promoted side. On Hull, I'd say a solid result. And Hull obviously getting a late winner against Bristol City will be a huge momentum booster for them. Like I'm saying, I just don't see too much between these two sides at the moment. So I'm going to call it down the middle and go for a draw. Moving on then to QPR versus Middlesbrough. It wasn't a great start to life for Michael Beale, who barely had a shot on target, and a 1-0 loss to Blackburn. Against the Middlesbrough side, who drew 1-1 with West Brom in a really, really competitive game. I think they're coming into this season really excited, aren't they, Middlesbrough? So it'll be interesting to see which way this goes. I think QPR will probably be content here with getting their first points on the board. Borough will want their first win of the season. It'll be intriguing to see which way this goes, but I'm going to say it will be a 1-1 draw. Moving on then to Sheffield United versus Millwall at Bramall Lane. And Sheffield United, they'll come into this one off the back of the 1-0 draw against Watford. 1-0 loss against Watford. Wasn't a great result from that, and they'll be looking to rebound quickly against Millwall side, who obviously got dumped out of the Carabao Cup on Tuesday, but did win their opening game, and obviously you read more into that. So I think they'll be coming to this one full of confidence. But at home, I just fancy Sheffield United to have a bit too much. I'm going to say 2-0. Moving on then to Stoke versus Blackpool. Stoke obviously starting off their season with a loss, and Blackpool with a win. Blackpool coming to this one with confidence, but Stoke at home, I think pressure will already be growing on Michael O'Neill, with some doubts from some corners of fans. They will need a win here, and Blackpool will look to kind of, exploit that pressure, I guess. But it'll be intriguing to see which way this goes. But I think Stoke do need it more, and will possibly get the win here. I'm going to say 2-0. Moving on then to Reading versus Cardiff at the Mercedes Stadium. And Reading obviously 1-0 loss to Blackpool last time. Disappointing result, because I think they would have been targeting to get something out of that. Against the Cardiff side, who've got a 1-0 win against Norwich, and really, really impressed me on the opening week of the season. So they'll come into this one full of confidence with their 30 new additions against the Reading side. Let's face it, don't look great, so they'll be coming to this one with confidence, but Reading really do need to get their first points on the board, so I think it will be quite a close game, and I'm going to say it will end up being a draw. I'm going to say 1-1. Moving on then to Swansea as they take on Blackburn at the Liberty Stadium. And yes, Swansea 1-1 draw against Rotherham last time out. I think it's maybe a game they've been targeting to win, so they're maybe slightly frustrated against the Blackburn side that beat QPR 1-0 in a really promising start for the new manager. So they'll come into this one full of confidence, but Swansea will be desperate to get their first points on the board. So yeah, for me it'll be an intriguing way to see which way this goes, but I fancy the home side here. I think it'll be a close one, but I'm going to say home advantage will pay off. Moving on then to Coventry as they take on Rotherham at the Coventry Building Society Arena, aka the Rico. But anyway, Coventry 1-1 draw against Sunderland last time out. Not too bad a result. I think like Sunderland, they would have been pushing for the winner there, but I'd say draw was a fair result. Rotherham, a solid draw against Swansea. I think they would have taken that. So yeah, I think both these teams will come into this one with a bit of confidence here, and they'll be looking to make it a really good start to the season. I'm backing Coventry to it. I think they've got a bit too much for Rotherham. And finally, West Brom take on Watford in probably the biggest game of the Championship this weekend. West Brom obviously played out that really entertaining 1-1 draw against Middlesbrough last time out, and their squad is looking really good. Watford 1-0 win against Sheffield United, which is a big win for them. They'll come into this one full of confidence because of that, I think. So yeah, we can expect quite a close game here between two really good sides to get to be up there. And yeah, it is a hard one to call, but I'm going to say it will be a score draw and a very entertaining one at that. I'm going to say 2-2. But anyway guys, that's it for the video. Thanks very much for watching. To like, share, subscribe, next lot of comments down below. Find us for daily football news and subscribe to the channel, and I would greatly appreciated. Thanks very much for watching. Peace.